Hey guys, how you doing? We just finished the Chinese New Year holiday, and then we back to work on yesterday, right? So today, actually, I've not prepared to um, write about the Intel's performance, but I have just go into that website and then take a look on the performance. Then it is really a disaster, right? It's really a disaster for Intel's. We know that in last year, right? Last year, because China and America, then a lot of chips makers, right, or any business related to them, like AMD, like TSM, like Nvidia, they all the share price performance is not good, right? But for Intel, it's really, really bad for the whole 2022. Nearly all the profits are gone. That means no profit. And the share price is back to 2014. Normally, the share price of, say, Nvidia, say AMD, or say TSM, they will back to 2020. That means before the COVID-19. I think that's normal for a lot of those chip makers stock. But for Intel, her stock price is back to 2014. This scared me to death. Then what happened to Intel, right? You know that right after I graduated from my university, then at that time is 1990. Intel is the big brother. I had bought for so many years. Normally, I need to change the desktop computer for every 5 to 6 years, something like that. I've been the desktop computer that using Intel's processor or the motherboard, something like that, is for quite a very long time. Very, very long time. Maybe for more than 15 years, 1 5 in Hong Kong. So it scared me to death. And what happened to Intel? We know that this is the headwind for the chip makers. Then we know that, right? But why she just so bad? Right? It's really bad. I think a lot of investor or the stockholders, they will have to say goodbye because it's really too bad. And they focus from her on 2023. That means this year is still bad. All the outlook is very bad, right? So we'll take a look on that, right? So I hope you do not have this stock, right? So our Falcon portfolio been improved for some percentage and then up to 44% yesterday night, right? So if you have any stock then you want me to analyze or comment or discuss, you can leave your message under the YouTube, or you can directly email to me by usstockmarketweekly@gmail.com. And this is our cover. Intel is a true disaster, right? Then you can see a lot of commentators is using this as the heading for her, right? So we'll see how bad she is performing. So Dow Jones yesterday been okay, right? It's still okay. Rise to 2005 points. Then you can see that. Then she only have about 1,800 points rise up. Then she make the level the 52 weeks high, right? So not far from that. And for Nasdaq, right, rise at nearly 200 points. It's because Microsoft. Because one day before, after the performance, they said Microsoft is bad, and then yesterday they do the correction. Then we know that the percentage of Microsoft is very high. So yesterday the Nasdaq rise up again. So this is our Falcon 350,000 portfolio. And our new portfolio and our portfolios performance is 44%. You can see that in 2020, that means less than 1 year, our portfolio been established, rise at 55%. And then in 2021, decreased at only 8%. But in last year, this is also a disaster, right? Decreased at 25%. And then this year, we rise at 8%. We hope then this is the end, right? This is the end to the putting up of the interest rate. So US 10-year Treasury yield, then this compared to 1 week before, then rise a little bit. 3.4 and then yesterday is 3.527%. So we go through some headlines first, right? And China seems passed through the COVID, and I think the real situation we don't know, right? Because then we do not have a lot of news inside. We just see some of the pictures, some of the scenario, and some of the reports from the government bit by bit, and then bit by bit. So we don't know, right? Then we just see some of the scenario is very happy. A lot of people is traveling, then going from here to there, and then going from here to there. But we never know the real situation inside China. So if she say yes, then you can say yes, right? And then this is good news for us because we invested in the USA. And then yesterday, then the US GDP is not the GDP 2.9%, it rose 2.9% in the fourth quarter. That means in October, November, and then in December, more than expected, even as the recession. Then this is a good news to us, right? And then we go to our main cast, right? The Intel, right? Intel's horrible quarter revealed an inventory and underused factory. And in the picture is Intel CEO Pat, right? So this is quite disappointing to the investor and to the stockholders. No matter how many shares that you have, then it is really discourage of the people to further hold for Intel. All right, so we take a look on that. So just show you, I put the horizontal red line to it. Normally, for the chip maker stock like TSM, like AMD, like Nvidia, right, they will have their share price drop back to 2020. That means nothing been happen in between, right? Work from home, not happen. But you can see that Intel's share price dropped back to 2014, not 2020, 2014. And then you can see that the PE ratio is 9, like the utility stock, and then the dividend is up to 4.8%. It's because the share price dropped too low. It's not because they raised the dividend. It's because their share price dropped too low. So we take a look on the Q4 financial highlights, then all is bad. All right. You see that the revenue dropped from 1 year before the same quarter, 28%, $14 billion US dollar. And then the gross margin, right, dropped at 12%. It's very low for chip makers, right? And then the earnings per share, then use our word is no IC, right? Use our words is no IC. The earnings per share is only 0.1. That means 10 cents, right? Only 10 cents. It dropped at 92% from 1 year before, right? So I always use the non-GAAP because non-GAAP is everything related to the business. We take a look on that. All is the cross, right? Everything drops. Only one figure rise up is the R&D and management and administrative expenditure, right? Then it rose to 14%, and then revenue down 16, gross margin down 10.8 points, operating margin dropped tax rate drop, net income drop 65%, EPS drop 65%, then all is no use. Right? All is no use. I never see a performance from Intel is bad like that. So what she's still claiming, right, is the focus on delivering the long-term strategy. That is rubbish. That is rubbish. I think she need to correct what she wants to do immediately and then adjust all the actions in order to make the profits come back. Right. Otherwise, the investor will just go. If I have the stock, I will immediately dump out all the stock. I will not leave even one share in my portfolio because her performance is really bad. Right. So take a look on what she wants to do in her strategy. Actually, she wants to do everything. We can see that how can she do everything? All right. You can see that then for the notebook, Vapor Lake, for the chips, and then for data center and AI, and then for the next generation revenue, and then for AXG, and then for she wants to participate in the foundry. All right, and then mobile eyes is for what? For the electrical vehicle. She wants to do everything, but how can she do that, right? And she's making the same mistake as AMD before, right? AMD before wants to do everything before joins the company, right? She wants to do everything on all aspects, and then nothing is doing good, right? So that's the same mistake now Intel is doing. She wants to do everything. Not any one of them is easy. All is complicated and burning money, right? If she burning money at this hard time, then it's really difficult for Intel to stand up again. This is my comment. So take a look on the client computing group, right? You can see that the PC demand on 2022 is weak. I accept that because it's not only she, right? Others, AMD, NVIDIA also bad. Then we can see that from 1 year before, right? The fourth quarter of 2021 and the revenue and the operating income down, 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 down. Then I accept that, right? Because not only her problem, it's the business problem. But for data center and AI, we can see that Microsoft's businesses is rising, and then data center for AMD, for NVIDIA is also rising. But you see that for Intel, still dropping, and dropping. Right? See that the revenue dropped 30%, 33%, and then the OI operating income dropped 84%. How can she explain that? Right? The business is not like that. The business is very hot on the data center and the AI group chips. So she must have some problem on that, right? So we look at the figures from the financial report. Then we take a look on the non-GAAP. That means the data is just relating to the business. You can see that from 2021 to 2022, the last quarter, I use the red lines, right? You can see that the non-GAAP revenue is down from 1.9 billion to 1.4 billion US dollar. Right? It's down something like 25%, right? And then the gross margin down from 55.8% to 43.8%. That means about 12%, right? And then we can see that for the earnings per share is down, diluted. Everything on the financial, say like the bonds, like other preference share, all calculated, right? And then we can see that the non-GAAP EPS down from 1.15 to 0.1. that means no profit. 0.1 means no profit. Then this is terrible, or this is really terrible. If we look at the others like AMD, then they not good, but not like that, right? And then this is the outlook. Not happened now, right? It's going to happen, but not happen now. It's the outlook. And then the outlook, I think that this is quite true because she is calculating by the orders that she is holding on hand, right? So I think it's quite realistic, right? Just some figures need small tuning, something like that. Then you can see that revenue, if compared to 2022 Q1, down 40%, and then the gross margin down 14%. And then you can see that the earnings per share is down 117%. Also why is bigger than 100%? Because it's a negative. Don't miss that. That is the bracket, right? The earnings per share is a negative for her outlook. That means no profit. And then the company is losing the money. How can this happen? Right? How can this happen, right? So I think a lot of people will dump the Intel. And I think the most important part is Intel need to reveal what she is going to do. She cannot do everything. She wants to do everything. Okay, doing the chips, I doing the foundry, I doing the electric car. It's just like she is competing with the whole world, like Samsung, AMD, Nvidia. Okay, TSM is good. It's famous for her name for the foundry. I do the foundry, right? Then Nvidia is famous for the GPU. I do the GPU, right? And then Samsung is famous for the flash memory. I do the flash memory. Then it's not workable. One aspect is the money. Another aspect is how can you have the professional people? So she has to make up her way, like AMD. AMD also make up her way, and then now the business blows up, right? If she still go on like that, then I think the company is really dangerous. Then this is what it is, right? So I do not suggest you to hold Intel stock anymore. If you have, dump it out. Just at the market price, right? And don't look back. This will at least take Intel 1 or 2 years to ratify, right? So no need to look back, right? That's what it is. So this is the outlook, right? Not happened now, right? But it's her outlook for 2023 Q1. You can see that. Then what her forecast is the gross margin dropped from 53% to 39%. And then the non-GAAP earnings per share dropped from 1 year before 87 cents per share to minus 15 cents, right? So it's really disappointing for all the investor and the shareholders, right? So just as you wish, but I do not suggest you to hold this stock anymore until we see very obvious change of direction and then the profit come back, right? Okay, thanks for watching, and then please help to keep a like, any comment and share to your friends is welcome. Then don't forget to click the subscribe and then press the bell icon, and then you will never miss any update from YouTube. Okay, I'll see you guys next week, and hope everyone have a very happy weekend. See you. Bye bye.